Welcome to a special edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. It's Clásico time. America versus Chivas is just in a couple of days. And what better way to get on and celebrate this amazing rivalry than have two great fans join us on the show. Diehard fans, you know, you couldn't find anybody else here on Twitter, I know. But it's going to be a fun show for you guys, especially the ones that are watching us live. Go ahead and if you hear something that you don't like, if you want to trash talk, this is the place, especially during our chat room that we will be having. Hopefully no one gets too crazy on there. But it should be a very fun show, especially since the game is so close and there's a lot that can happen. We'll see what it is. First, let me say hi to our expert, Tom, who is in Mexico City, who is in Guadalajara. Tom, how are you, sir? I know we just saw a couple days ago talking about Carlos Velas for about an hour. Here's another show. It's strictly just, you know, we won't even get into Vela. Maybe we will. It'd probably go that way. But how are you? America versus Chivas coming up.
Yeah, Carlos Vela, that diehard Chivas fan. You left on such great terms. No, but yeah, I'm good. Yeah, all good. A lot of work this week, obviously, with the Vela and then obviously the Clásico on Saturday. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I think there's one team that goes into it a lot better than the other.
Exactly. And we have a couple of guests brand new to the show. We reached out to these fans because we wanted a fan's perspective. It's not only, you know, we might see it, for example, I'm not an America Chivas fan. I don't prefer either, and I don't hate them either, but we definitely wanted the perspective, and we wanted to be kind of subjectively in a fan's point of view. So I know that we always have, you know, John Enrico, a diehard America fan, and he's got a lot of knowledge, but we went ahead and invited, at least I know one fan that bleeds the Azul Crema and is always talking about it, is Andy. He's from Oklahoma. Andy, say hello. How are you?
Hi, we're so glad to be on your show, and yeah, I think we're gonna get the win this weekend.
Good. Already definitely there, especially with America fans. Andy, a little bit about you. You went to the World Cup. You were there. You were at the amazing games. How was that experience?
Yeah, I got the Brazil tickets mounted up there somewhere. They're right there. Yeah, good times, man. It's incredible. It was life-changing to me. I think so. You know?
Nice. I know that you got to go to. Did you wear? Were you wearing your Mexico shirt or were you wearing America?
FanFest days, I was representing America, but on game day, it had to be Mexico.
Are you wearing that stupid half one?
Hell no.
I hate those things so much.
It butchers both jerseys, man.
Hey, well, America has that green one. That would have been kind of cool to have. All right, well, Andy, nice to have you on. We'll be hearing with you. Obviously talking with you throughout the show on what you see the rivalry. So it should be a lot of fun. And obviously from LA, we had to get it fair. It's not just an America show. Sometimes it feels that way with you know, with Eric and also Johnny. But we have from LA Fernando Rios, who runs the Stray Goat. Definitely be a part of it on Twitter. Fernando, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for giving me a platform to spread my ignorance to the masses like this. Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about, you know, obviously, you know, you're a big fan of Chivas and what you're going through, but tell us a little bit about maybe the account, you know, what led you to start that, or something about you know, how long you've been a fan, about you and Chivas and the heartbreak.
Well, lately for the past more than a few years, it's been mostly just tales of depression on my blog, so it hasn't been anything worthwhile, to be honest. But I've been a fan since I was a little kid, so I've had some good moments, but mostly bad.
Are your parents from Guadalajara, Fernando, or?
Yeah, my dad's side.
Dad's side's from Norway.
Yeah.
How about you, Andy? Wait, are your parents from Mexico City, or?
My father, he's from San Luis Potosí, and my mother's from Tampico. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad, I guess he grew up in the 80s era, so, you know, he's always been a diehard and pretty much...
Yeah, how old's your dad if he grew up in the 80s?
He's 40, 42, something like that, man.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm just old. Like, I grew up in the 80s. All right. Well, let's get started. It should be pretty fun. Obviously, chatting about the game. You know, usually we have a week in advance, the Sunday after the game starts, after the last weekend, we start talking about the Clásico, but obviously there was Vela news, kind of took over the spotlight, the call-up, so we decided to have a show just for the Clásico, especially. It's been happening. We'll be asking these guys a couple questions. How does it feel? Hopefully some rivalry talk, some trash talk here and there. And I know the Chivas fans, obviously, they're mighty and proud to say. So we'll go ahead and get started. But first, Tom's going to kind of, give us the history. Give us, obviously, you're there, the atmosphere you're seeing. You're in Guadalajara, so you get to see a little bit more than most of us here in the United States. Tell us a little bit of how important this game is and why everyone should be watching this game in Mexico and in the U.S.
Yeah, well, I think traditionally this game, obviously, it brings Mexico to a standstill. You get people who don't even really follow the game, and they're all having bets, they're having barbecues. It really does have a big impact on the country, and it's obviously a Saturday afternoon, so everybody's out of work, and it's important. Everybody seems to pick a side, and it's basically good times. And obviously the context, you've got the America from the capital, the Mexico City, the rich, flashy club who play with foreigners and aren't afraid to spend big money. And then you've got Chivas, who traditionally are kind of the working class provincial club, all Mexicans who like more gritty, graft. That's the background. These are the only two these are the two best supported teams in the country. It's like Andy was saying, his family's from San Luis Tampico. It's like you go to any state in Mexico and you'll find Chivas and American fans without any shadow of doubt at all. And then, both these teams have won 11 titles, so they're the most successful as well. But I think for this game, I really think it's the issue anymore. I think the issue is, and sorry about this, Fernando, but I think it's Chivas. Chivas being such a low. It really is. It's Day of the Dead on Saturday, and I'm sure America fans are going to be. I'm sure America fans are going to be. They're going to be bringing that up. You can imagine them bringing the little altars, to the stadium, and you can just see it now. You know what I mean? And the stats are there. Las Águilas on 29 points this season, Chivas 11. Over the last 4 seasons, America's made every playoff, 2 finals, a title. But America have won the last 3. It's like, I don't know. I don't think there's ever been a Clásico that, especially not that I can remember, but there's been so one-sided. I'm not talking just about kind of league position right now, but in terms of going back a few years, that America have been one of the teams has been so good and one of them so bad consistently for a few years now. There's that cliche in there that anything can happen in a Clásico. I think that Chivas have little chance here. They really they need a boost, and it is in a way a great opportunity. But I'd say the only thing that Chivas fans right at the minute have got to cling to is the fact that America have basically they've not got that much to play for apart from pride. They can't get in the Copa Libertadores because they're playing in the Conca Champions, and they're already qualified for the playoffs. So, that's the little glimmer of hope. But I think that's the story here. The fact that both these two teams are coming into the game just a long way from each other, and that's my little preview.
Nice little preview. Obviously, Tom, yeah, you're getting it. Definitely agree with you. A lot of people are watching this America to see what they can do, especially in a rivalry game. I'll add to that. El Cruz Azul, El Cruz Azul game and Pumas game, not winning those games. These are the most rivalry games. And obviously, what Mohamed is doing. Talk a little about that. And obviously, Chepo de la Torre coming in, did have his first title with Chivas, hopefully saving it. Was able to get a tie in the last game, so seeing a little glimmer of hope. A tie is a step in the right direction for Chivas, and we're seeing obviously América coming in with a loss from the Ronaldinho team, Querétaro. So it's coming up to be a great game, at least before the game. We don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully, it's not a 4-0, 5-0 from América like it was a couple the last 2. Let's start with a little bit on questions for you guys, the fans. Quick question. I'll start with the America fan because he's on the top right now. What does this rivalry mean to you, Andy? Is this because a lot of people, especially, are either trying to take it as it's just another game. we're not even, they're not even at the level for us to be that big Clásico like it used to be, or is it? It doesn't matter. It's Chivas. I mean, we're gonna kill it. It doesn't matter how bad they're doing.
As much as we like to brag about the moment we're in at the moment, it's still nerve-wracking to see, because I've seen America in better moments, and then Clásicos are different games, They always, I don't know, it's just a different game. It's a different season, and to me, it's just the rest of the next 6 months, bragging rights, and even if Chivas doesn't qualify to playoffs, it's gonna hurt us for the next 6 seasons, or the next 6 months, even if we win the title,
I think 6 seasons is correct. If you guys lose to this Chivas, I think it will hurt you for the next 6 We'll be talking about that horrible Chivas loss.
Take their Liga spot if they lose to Chivas this weekend.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing as well. Chivas actually, if you want to put another positive spin on the Chivas side, got nothing to lose. I don't think even Chivas' own fans.
That's a positive, I guess you could say.
Fernando, what is to you? What is this? What does this rivalry mean to you? What does this game especially mean to you as a Chivas fan?
For me, it's mostly bragging rights over horrible uncles who have been America fans my whole life. Those America converts who happen to be America fans this week, who are gonna probably give me hell the following week, and who know nothing about Mexican soccer. They just jump on it because that's my team. And but yeah, it's mostly bragging rights, but there hasn't been much lately.
And does for you, Fernando, does the fact that Chivas are all Mexican have anything did that originally attract you to the team, or just your parents, or how much does that kind of factor into how much you like and support the team?
Well, yeah, it was from my dad. He used to watch the games on Sunday mornings back when they played on at like 10 a.m. on local time here. And that's what drew me to it. He would watch the games, I'd watch them with him, and that brought me in. And I've been there. I've been there ever since.
Good. I mean, I think a lot of people, it's that attraction with Carlos Vergara coming in. That all the Mexican team. He tried to do that in Costa Rica with Saprissa. When Vergara comes in, it's like all of the Mexican team, and it does attract. I think it does attract, especially fans in the United States coming up. The proud of it. I think one question is, if you try to do that in the U.S., I think you get sued because you can't just, hire people that are just one nationality. But we can keep doing that in Mexico. So it's very, very different, especially in the way. But it is a little proud moment for the Chivas fans. And even as I'm not a Chivas fan, but I can say that's great that a team can do that with all. And when Chivas does win, even though I'm a León fan, you kind of go, all right, well, that's an all-Mexico team. Great for that. But at the same time, I'm not sure how much Andy likes that, but we'll see that. Another question for you guys. We'll get a little bit deeper, obviously, with how the season is going. But for you, Fernando, how do you see the coaches change? How do you see Chepo de la Torre as a fan with what he did last year, and obviously with the Mexican national team? You've seen it there, what he did in 2006, giving you a title, only Vergara's first title, his first title also as a coach. How did you see that move, and is it going to help it, or if it can't get any worse than this?
It really, we're rock bottom. So anything at this point is just grasping at straws. They're just trying anything to see what sticks. But yeah, there were good times with Chepo. He had that championship team, but even then, I don't know what fans are expecting. If they're expecting some dynamic team to come around, we don't have the roster for that. We don't have defense to provide that solid base that he demands. Honestly, it's trying the old to see if it's going to work, and I honestly don't think it will.
Yeah, I have to agree with that as well. I mean, I feel like he's just recycling the same ideas, and it's not helping. I think a coach like Chelis at the time, it would have been a better choice, but I mean, I'm glad they didn't pick a coach like that. So as an America fan.
So yeah, that's interesting. So no hope under De La Torre. What about Nestor? In fact, Nestor, I thought he was back as well.
I mean, their name means a lot to our club. It really does, and I respect what their family has done for the club in the past. But even when Nestor, during his first tenure, when he left, the club was already kind of heading in the wrong direction. He was bringing in players like Carlos Ochoa and guys like that. And it's like, I honestly don't know I don't know what to expect, but I honestly don't see it going in the direction they think it's gonna go.
Yeah. And who would you maybe brought in, or who do you think? I mean, it's difficult.
I really liked Rafa Puente when he was here, Rafa Puente Jr.
Yeah.
I really liked what he was trying to do. Valencia was a horrible idea. He shouldn't have been there from the start.
Wait. What was he trying to do? Because I really don't know what Rafa Puente was doing.
Well, he was.
Explain to us.
Yeah, he was kind of along the lines of what the Dutch project with the Cruyff Institute was trying to do, was basically clean house and try to bring in new players and kind of change the team style and get rid of some of those players who'd become stagnant. And that came with getting rid of Jose Rizal, but now he's back and Nestor's back and everything seems to be going. We take a couple steps forward and take multiple steps back every single time.
The Chivas fan. Andy, to you, Antonio Mohamed, to start with the coach. Obviously, a lot of people are saying that there's something there that, is he not motivating the players right, especially for these rivalry games? Do you think something's going to change? I mean, obviously you would like it to change, but do you think anything's going to change? I mean, just like Tom said, they're not really it's just for pride. Those other two games were for pride also and for points, and they weren't able to win them. What's going to change?
Well, I think this game has to be approached differently. I personally like the 5 in the back, but Mohamed really doesn't like that formation, I've noticed. I also saw a report somewhere that he would prefer to win the championship over El Clásico, and personally, I'd rather win both. They both hurt if you don't win them. So,
there it is.
Yeah.
Nice, good to see. Good to see that. Really quickly on our chat, we have a couple people obviously talking. Guelito, who's always there with us, especially from the Pancho Villas Army, saying it correctly. Great guy, big diehard Chivas fan also, who just had a couple questions and a lot of comments. He said, we can go 1-16, but as long as we win against America, it's all good. And then someone, obviously, all the way from Melbourne, Australia, who's watching in the show, Mr. Kenman90. We do have a lot of, he says Mexicans are born everywhere, right? Awesome. So a couple of people from all around the world watching the show. Definitely keep your questions coming, guys. We'll be asking the fans and asking Tom throughout the show. Let's kind of switch it over a little bit about the players. And the position that, I'll start with America. Andy, to you, Miguel Layún, were you one of those that todo es culpa de Layún, and then all of a sudden, Layún's the savior, having more goals than Oribe Peralta, in this season? How do you feel about Layún? And obviously, the star players. What are your key players in America that you see?
Well, first to talk about Layún, I would say about 3 or 4 years ago, I was in the Cowboys Stadium watching the almighty Barcelona play against America, and at the time, Layún was the butt-end of all jokes, and I think I was, one of the guys that would crack jokes about him, and I, definitely regret that. But he's a key player. Even the few games he's been injured lately, the team hasn't been the same, so he's definitely a playmaker, and he's definitely somebody that changes, the way the team as a whole plays.
Very good. Anybody else that you see? Obviously, him coming back, which he's projected to come back, but who do you obviously keep an eye out? Or at the same time, Eric was able to tell us that, the back line isn't that great. Who shouldn't be on the team that you think? I mean, take it. You're the coach. What are you looking at for this Sunday?
I personally, up front, I think with Oribe Peralta and just by himself, I think that would be great. And I would just drop Michael Arroyo to the wings. He's been playing up front a little more, but he's been playing on the wing, but a little more to the a little more forward. So I think they should push him back to the midfield. And also Osmar Mares, I really haven't liked the way he's been playing, and also Goltz. He's a crucial player, but I think he has to he can't have that embarrassing performance like he did against Querétaro.
Yeah, he came with a big reputation though, didn't he? Goats. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he hasn't done better. But it's not the first time I've heard criticism of him really, because he was good in the the Copa Libertadores and all that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, America's known to bring in high caliber players from South America, and also they're either legendary or they're either god awful.
Yeah.
Good. Fernando, to you, almost, obviously players. And we
That's
need
not-
to see, what players are there. Let's talk about the one that everyone, is supposed to save the team, has the brilliance, has the talent. Do you see, Angel Reyna, either changing this Sunday because it's a Clásico?
Nah, he's gonna get booed by both sides. Obviously, like it's not. He's not a guy who's gonna win over the fans at this point. But yeah, he came in. I honestly thought he was gonna be a lot more impactful than he's been. But with the roster that surrounds him and a couple of our players who still have a little bit of talent left, it's been difficult. And but yeah, he's at least giving everybody something to talk about.
Yeah.
Bad press is good press. Any other players, Fernando? For example, Bravo coming back and scoring. If you're looking at the player that's most notable for Chivas, there's got to be something in there. I mean, that game was almost won in Querétaro. Against. It was almost there against Xolos. It was Xolos, but at the same time, it was at least a glimmer of hope that they're playing a little better. Or was it just Chiripada le metió gol Bravo and got lucky? It was a tie.
I think Tom could have put away the goals that Bravo put away on the weekend. But yeah, the defense, they're still going to give up a ton of goals. And they're not going to score on a lot of defenses out there. Like you said, it was Xolos, so it's not something I see happening on a consistent basis.
Yeah, Fernando. I mean, I've chatted to him. I've chatted to Nesta, but they won't allow me. They won't let me in. I've even said I can get naturalized, in like about 6 months, but they're not having it. Presented to him a project, the solution to the problems that I become the number 9, but I don't know what more I can do. You know what I mean?
That team, dude, trust me.
No, but I think it's a big game for Tonio Rodriguez in Chivas' goal. I think there's reports coming out now that there's some bit of a divide in the dressing room between those who want Luis Michel and those that want to stick with Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez the last couple of weeks, I think he's been probably Chivas' best player this season. But over the last couple of games, I think he's been a little bit shaky, and he's looked nervous. And I think that nervousness, I don't know whether he's transmitting to the defense or the defense to him. I don't know which way around it's going.
It's the defense.
But I mean, he's definitely not as looked as secure as before. So I think he's a key player. The other thing I think it's worth expanding a bit on Reyna. I mean, he's an America player. I mean, he's from America's youth system. He's got family that have come through America's youth system as well. He's the top scorer back in the Clausura 2011. This is an America guy. This is a guy who called out Vergara after a game in 2009 and said, who's the daddy? Who's the boss here? We are. And and he's come out, and now he's playing for Chivas in the Azteca. So I think he's potentially the big story, because I just can't see him in this game not doing anything. And I'm not saying he's going to do something wonderfully positive, but I think he's going to either do something really good or really bad. Like I mean, it's just Reyna. I mean, you look at some of the comments this week, about some of the criticism he's took, and he's like, he's told people to prepare the cameras. Everyone is going to be booing him, so he's ready for it, and it's going to be nice for him, and get the cameras ready. He's talking about the media criticism that he's received. He's like saying, I don't watch sports shows on TV. I just watch Chespirito and The Simpsons. What a joker! And what else is like? Whether he'll score, whether he'll celebrate if he scores a goal for Chivas. I mean, obviously he should celebrate. I think he has to, and I think it's slightly insulting to Chivas fans to say that he wouldn't. I mean, this is a guy who left America have to call in, was it Capitan de Agua? I mean, you know, he didn't like leave under good circumstances.
Yeah, that would be incredibly awkward if he were to score and not celebrate.
Yeah, I mean, but this is what he said. He said, "I don't know. I'm guided by God. If
Yeah, whatever God tells me.
If God says to celebrate, I'll do so with pleasure, and if not, I won't. It all depends on the moment." I mean, if you're a Chivas fan reading that, I mean, for me, I don't know. You tell me, Fernando. If you're a Chivas fan reading that, Reyna, you're like,
if he's ready for God to tell him what to do, God's apparently not a Chivas fan right now, so.
As long as he does, I mean, if he does that celebration with Rey Mysterio, you know, backflip over the player, I think that'd be.
He's got to score.
He kind of put the Chivas fans on this bad side as well, since he came after Ramon Morales in that recent quote. Morales is practically a saint among Chivas fans, so it was. Objectively, if you look at it, he was saying that Morales was just, he's still a new coach. And, I mean, aside from that, it didn't seem like a bad thing to say. He wasn't insulting Morales, in my opinion.
No, but I think what he said was more kind of hurtful than call him a pendejo or something, you know what I mean? I mean, saying he's a head coach in training, I mean, you know what I mean? Bloody hell, that's like...
But let's be honest, Morales is a head coach in training. He's not anything.
Yeah, but then again, what's Reyna? You know what I mean? He's just a player who's jumped around from 7. This is his 7th club in the first division. I mean, he's not a guy who's like very stable and kind of proper and kind of like, you know, he's done his training badges and like.
He's a diva.
He was being honest. You know, they asked him a question and he's a straight shooter.
He likes to answer. A couple of questions from the chat for Andy, the America fan here. He said from Guelito, America, how does it feel to have an ex-Chivas on your squad? Peralta, who played 4 games in the Libertadores. Does it mind that you have someone that played for Chivas? Is that big of a rivalry?
Not at all. I mean, it was 4 Libertadores games. He played terrible. He's.
That helps.
I don't think he was in a shining moment at the time. And you know, Peralta, I think he has a lot. He doesn't have any feelings for Chivas as a fan. So I think it doesn't hurt me as a fan.
All right, and then for Fernando, another question from the fans. Do you reckon, the guy from obviously Melbourne, Australia, if Chivas descends, they'll be forced to change their all-Mexican policy? So if Chivas does descend, do they stick with the strict Mexican, or maybe the question should be, would you like it to change as a fan?
Oh no, you can't change that. If they were to descend, the first thing I see happening is Vergara selling. I don't think he keeps the club if it descends, and I think if the new ownership were to take over, they wouldn't get rid of such a great policy that's been the staple for such a long time.
Copa MX games would be more interesting too.
I mean, the only
we would be watching it.
You know that if Chivas go down, you know the Mexican Federation are arranging those group stages to get a Clásico in them. You just know it, don't you? But no, what was I going to say? Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I can't see Chivas going down, but you know, obviously the point system is there. But
thank God for Leones Negros.
Yeah, no, this is what I'm going to say. I remember now.
Thank you, Leones Negros.
I'm gonna send him a fruit basket.
But they're you got to be careful with Leones Negros. So they've just got loads of money from ESPN in from the new deal. But no, I think the point with Chivas and the all Mexican policy now is that I don't think it's going to change, because even more than from when Vergara bought the club, he's turned the club into a brand. I mean, before that it was just a kind of cool thing in Mexico, you know what I mean? And then obviously it kind of spilled over into the US with immigration and stuff. But I think he's turned it into an absolute brand badge, and you know, the new stadium. He's turned it into that brand, and I think that brand relies on that Mexican identity, and I think that's why that you can't change it now. And I don't think they should. I mean, you know, I know there's a lot of chat about this, like, kind of being racist and stuff, you know, the policy of all Mexicans, but at the end of the day, I think I'm not obviously a lawyer, but legal. I think the only problem I have with Chivas' policy from like a kind of moral point of view, well, two of them, is that one, that they should allow naturalized Mexicans, and that two, they should allow Mexicans that play for other national teams. And I'm only saying that because, right, whatever country you're in, if you're a naturalized citizen of that country, then you should have the same right to work as anybody else. Do you know what I mean?
I think is there straight like out no naturalizados, but I thought there was a player that wasn't naturalizado in Chivas.
No, there's never been. I mean,
No?
Chivas, if you go way back, they had like Belgium, French, and I think English played for them. But that was before the policy came in. But I mean, do you know what I'm saying though? It's like you can't. I mean, a foreigner just can't turn up in Mexico and be like, oh, I want to play for a club. Because obviously they need the work visa. The club has to offer them the thing. So there can't be a job offer, if you know what I mean. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
But if you're a naturalized Mexican, you've lived there for 3 years, you know, you've gone through the process, and you've got your Mexican citizenship, but in the eyes of the law, you're equal to any other Mexican, no? I mean that's how I look at it, and personally, I understand the Chivas fans are, you know, really against it, but I think that's my only problem with it. I don't know what you guys think. What do you think, Andy?
I mean, I personally think it's. I mean, you know, looking at this as in a more, you know, not as a fan, I think. You know, it's not a bad thing that they do an all Mexican policy. I mean, you see it with Athletic de Bilbao. With, you know, they have the players from the same state can only play in the for Athletic. But you know, I mean, I think it keeps the tradition. I think it keeps the fire of the league going. I think it's great for the league.
Yeah, me too. I do think it's great. But you, Fernando, would you if tomorrow somebody says, right, you're gonna Chaco Jimenez or, you know, Damian Alvarez or one of these players who's played for the national team?
No, I with the policy that it's by birth, or like the policy that they have in place. The only one that I do agree with you on is the national team players. You're letting talented players go simply because of their national team affiliation, and at that point, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So do they have to be? I mean, are there any Chivas fans that were born in the U.S. that are?
There are players. The policy basically is the Mexican Constitution. So if you've got one Mexican parent, you are Mexican.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mexican American kids, I think, in the academies.
Yeah, and I think that's what that's what I was referring. So it's, I mean, as long as you're by the Constitution saying that you're Mexican, regardless if it's one parent or however it is, and you're in, or if your parents are if your parents are Mexican and you're born in the U.S., you're, you know, obviously you're considered Mexican. You're not considered naturalized, correct?
Yeah, you're considered a Mexican. Yeah, I think it's one parent, but then you can, if you've got a grandparent who's Mexican, you can get it through that as well. Then you have to apply for the citizenship, but you would be considered Mexican. But the problem is, you've got this kid at the minute, Luis Martir, who's I think he's a fullback at Chivas under-20s. You know, about 2 months ago, he played with the US under-20s national team. You know, he was invited there. I think he's from Los Angeles. He went down to Argentina. I think he played against Boca and like. So then he goes back to Chivas and he's not played since. I mean, that's the thing that I don't like. I mean, it's like this kid's he's just getting a chance. You know what I mean? To play at an international level. And I think when you stop him doing that, it's a bit like, I don't know, something doesn't sit quite right. If you know what I mean. Although like Andy said, you know, in general, I think the Chivas policy is great. I mean, I think it adds to the league. You know what I mean? It's a talking point like we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm probably in the minority among Chivas fans who are married to the fact that Chivas needs to be the foundation for the Mexican national team only. But
I remember saying that in 2006. Just send the Chivas, the Chivas team. I mean, send Chivas team and we'll be all right.
Don't send this one though, man.
I don't know. Seeing Antonio Nelson Senior in a Chivas jersey wouldn't bother me. I mean, that type type of Mexican, that's been there, has his kids there. As suppose that the American kid, that is just there. That I don't know. I mean, obviously we can go back to what's Mexican, what's not, but I like it too. The fact that you have that team, and I think if Chivas is doing great, I think the national team will be doing great too. And we saw that in 2006, 2005. Going into that World Cup, where Chivas players in those days, I mean Adolfo Bautista, Ricardo Salcido, Massa, having that core that were the Chivas players that were coming in. So we're good.
It seems so far away now.
It seems so far away. All right, guys, let's kind of wrap it up. Obviously, with the rivalry and with the game. Tom, before we go into, obviously, if we go into predictions, we talked a little bit about 2 days ago, predictions on what it is. What are the keys for each team? And, you analyze both of them to win. This is a football match. All the games have to be played. It's not like the Chivas fans are already losing. We've seen, Mexican teams, lose to, Chorrillo. So, I mean, it can happen. So what are the keys for both teams in your perspective, Tom, as an outsider? And then I'll go ahead and talk to Andy and Fernando. Hopefully they match up, but if not, I'd like to see the differences between a fan and obviously someone in the media.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be tighter early on than people think. It's not like I think America are going to absolutely walk away with it. I think that the absolute key for the game is Chivas to not concede a goal early. I mean, I think if Chivas concede early, with the way the confidence is in the team, and with an Azteca that I imagine will be majority America. I mean, it's not always majority America, but I think it will be tomorrow with Chivas' situation. If Chivas concede early, you've got to worry. I think the heads could drop, and I think they have to keep it very tight, and they have to fight for absolutely everything, and they have to hope that then they sort it out up front. I think Angel Reyna is he's got to do something. It's time for him now to step up and do something. I mean, he's not scored a goal in the league yet. He's back from injury now. I think he's the key player for Chivas, and you just fear my fear for Chivas and the positive for America, I think, is Oribe Peralta. The fact that recently he's been scoring a lot of goals. He's got back on the scoring track, so to speak. So yeah, I'd say that those key things. Chivas have got to keep him quiet, but you look at the centre backs. Pereira has been okay. I like him, but then the other, if you're going to play Christian Alvarez or Marin, I worry about those two. I don't know who's going to partner Pereira, but I'd probably prefer just putting Salcido there and kind of hoping for the best.
Good to see. Let's go with you, Andy. The keys for that victory, on your point of view as a fan, America taking it on Sunday.
Miguel Arturo Layuno, I think. As long as he's back and he's healthy, I think tomorrow they're gonna, finally find out if he's gonna be ready for the game or not. He tried him out in midfield against Santos, so I think if they play him similarly to the way they did that game, and maybe we can get another poker, and this time against Chivas.
Very nice. All hope on Layun. I like it. Fernando, to you, obviously the odds are against your team, your beloved Chivas.
Just a little bit, yeah.
What are the keys to try to sneak a win in there that you see that you can do it? Because as much as we like to think as fans for whatever. When I'm a fan of the team that doesn't win, and I was with Leon for a very long time, I still saw a positive in each game. I'm like, all right, well, if we can do this, what we did on Sunday, or if we can, I saw him in that first week. What are the keys for Chivas to win, or does America have to have a horrible game for Chivas to win?
I mean, what is a win really? Like, winning's relative, in my opinion. At this point in my fandom, it's not about wins or losses. It's just looking for positives in such a big team. But no, definitely, I concur with Tom when he says that if we start Alvarez and Marin in center back, we're going to give up a goal like in 15 minutes. And after that, the team don't have the confidence to fight back from something like that. And if anything, the floodgates will just open, and who knows how many goals they'll give up at that point. But yeah, if Chivas needs to win, or for Chivas to win, America would have to have a disaster scheme.
Yeah. Yeah, they need a Chivas could do with a goal from a free kick, or like Andy was talking about Galt not playing that well, a mistake from them. I mean, that's what they've got to hope for. Kind of, I just can't see Chivas really creating that much.
Some random guy could run in from the stands and kick one in. Anything helps.
But yeah, I mean, I think even someone like Chaton Enriquez, I think it's time for. I've said this so many times, but it's time for someone like him to I don't know.
It's been like 4 years now. I've been saying the same thing.
Chaton is like the great white hope. The great white hope. That's what Chaton is.
He's the king of Instagram, apparently.
Jesus.
That's Pulido. That's Pulido, man.
No, that's Jonathan. But at least he's coming back. All right, well, guys, thanks a lot for joining us at the Mexican Soccer Show. It's just special, obviously, making the Clásico. I think it will be a very interesting game. I think we're going to have the whole nation watching, especially why Chivas is down in the dumps. Can they go any further down? And obviously, America, if America was just, beating everybody, then it would be like, it's going to be a massacre. But America, with Mohamed, not having those games, and if Chivas plays to at least the best game, I think it could happen. There could be something that's there. I'm one that's gonna say it's a tie, and I think it's not gonna be easy for America, but not also Chivas taking it. And I'll hope. Well, that's my prediction. You'll take it. Sign it right there. But let's go into predictions. Before we do that, thank you to the people from the chat. Obviously, Abuelita, who's always there, Sarah Toussaint, and also from Melbourne, Australia, our fan, Mr. Kenman90, obviously having the discussion there on the chat. This is what we do it for. We'll invite more people to come on, obviously, in the coming soccer show. It's always really fun with the experience that we have here, and I want to thank you guys, fans. But let's hear your predictions, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Start with the upper hand that the America has, and I'm thinking we should. I don't know. Obviously, you both are on Twitter, but I feel like there should be some kind of bet or something. What do you think, Tom?
I know gonna say yeah.
But I gotta give it let's give them some kind of goals.
Can we obviously the over under of total goals?
Yeah, maybe like an over like in football, right? Yeah. Tom, you're an expert. How many goals do you think we can give? Can America? Should we give them 2 goals? Would you take that bet, Fernando? If America wins 2 or more goals, then maybe like an avatar bet or something.
I like it. That's good. That'll work.
Andy, you okay with those terms?
Yeah, that sounds great.
He's like, I can do 3.
This is so sad, but I'll take it. Yeah.
It's another win. Another bet.
I think Chivas have had some lows, but I think this bet might be the lowest.
Yeah, I'm gonna hear about this.
A handicap bet in soccer. Football. I love it. All right. Aside from that, let's hear your predictions. Let's, Andy, you're obviously your team is favored to win. By how many goals? What's going on?
As a fan, I think it'd be a 4-0, but realistically speaking, I think it's gonna be 3-1. 3-1.
4-0 is realistic too, dude. You don't have to.
I don't know.
America's coming off a loss, so it's clear that they're gonna head into a 100-year depression as well. So I'm gonna go that Chivas wins 1-0. How's that?
Oh, 1-0. That's hilarious.
Score
it can happen, man. It can happen. It can happen. Tom, your prediction, sir?
I think 4-0 America. I said it the other day.
Yeah.
Just fear for Chivas. Just fear for Chivas. That was the score of the last game, and I think if America score earlier, just fear for them. I mean, I've watched obviously every Chivas game this season. You go in the stadium and you just feel the life gets sucked out of the team, and it's it's pretty sad to see, really. You want to see a competitive game, but I don't know.
That's why I'm wearing black and red. We don't wear white anymore because of these horrible games.
Hey, it gets better, man. I think I remember the
Romano
days. Those were terrible, man.
All right. Well, I'm thinking an avatar bet, maybe some mentions on their Twitter. Congratulations to my buddy, and maybe an avatar bet somewhere in there for maybe a couple of days. 2-0. America has to win. This is pretty sad, but they both took it. They both wanted it. There it is. Before we leave, Tom, the chat wants to know if you are, if your allegiance are to Chivas. Are you a Chivas fan? Before we leave.
No, I'm not. I'm not a Chivas fan. I would say a lot. You know, obviously, the living in Guadalajara, I like to see the Guadalajara teams do well, just because it's good for my job. Like I'd rather be writing about Chivas, kind of having like 3 young players on the verge of going to Europe, and Copa Libertadores and all this. You know what I mean?
Oh man, that'd be awesome. There you go. I'm a fan, but you're more of an Atlas fan, right?
I go and watch Atlas more, but I'd keep it neutral, and like I said, I tend to like all the Guadalajara teams to do well.
Don't be offended, Tom. It's okay. It's fine.
No, and obviously I'm not from here, so I didn't grow up with Mexican football, so it's not the same kind of intensity. You know what I mean? I try and take a step back and have a look.
It's not Manchester United. Just say it. Gotcha. All right, guys. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. It's been fun, especially with the fans. It's fun that we can do this, and we have the mediums to do it through Google Talks and through YouTube. So a lot of fun. Keep obviously the conversation on Twitter going. Keep sending us your tweets, your emails. Andy, what's your Twitter name? What's that way we can.
It's Cookie Lara, but it's Kooky Lara, Lara.
Very nice, Cookie Lara. Follow Andy, fellow America, and then obviously Fernando. Is it at the Stray Goat or just Stray Goat?
At the Stray Goat. At Yes I Am Fern. Also, I have my own personal one where I put more offensive things up.
All right. Very nice. All right, guys. Well, this has been the Mexican Soccer Show. Tom, again, your expertise. Thank you. We'll be seeing obviously each other more on the in the next coming weeks with Mexican Soccer Show. We'll be communicating. But again, thanks for jumping on. Any last, not to say last words, but anything else we'd like to add? Vela is back.
Vela's back.
He's
yeah.
coming home.
Yay.
Hey, Chivas is winning in Europe. That's positive for you guys, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah, Europe, and a couple of other games as well. Leon Atlas, I think, is going to be a game not to miss. Who else have we got this weekend? We've got Puebla Pachuca. I think Puebla really needing to win. Really need to win. Both of them need to win that. Puebla for the relegation, Pachuca for to get in the playoffs. I'd like to see Pachuca in the playoffs. Cholos against Toluca, another playoff one there. So there's plenty of other games as well apart from the Clásico.
Yes. I know I'll be watching León sneaking its way into the 8th spot once again. Heard it here first. Going for that tricampeonato, and we'll go crazy. All right, guys, this is another great Mexican Soccer Show. Thanks for joining us. Saying goodbye from Phoenix. Goodbye to all. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, Tom. We'll be hearing from all of you guys, and again, it should be a fun weekend. I'm gonna have to go with whoever scores the most goals and wins. Be political like Tom. So we'll see how it is. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.